Hi everyone, Agnes here. I'm here with Amy again. Hello, Amy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me back, Agnes.
My pleasure. And we both are experiencing very similar questions, and thought we would hone in on it. And today it is two questions that we hear a lot from you, whether it is on YouTube or also in coaching sessions. I am not chosen, and my specific person isn't giving me enough. So we thought we would discuss that and break it down for you and give you some ideas. Firstly, how to look at it, and then some ideas of how to change it. So, Amy, let's do number one. I am chosen or I am not chosen is the case that people are suffering from. That particular one, the second one. What do you think about that?
I think when you're trying to manifest your specific person and there isn't any movement, I think it's very, very easy to fall into, okay, I'm the problem, or it must be me that's the problem. And I think when you are waiting and waiting and waiting for some sort of communication or to see that the ball's rolling and it looks like it's not and you can't see it, I think it's very easy to get tripped up and think, well, it must be me, I'm not chosen. Or them, they must be with somebody else, which again means I'm not chosen. And I think when you are in this perspective of I'm not chosen, when you're not getting the result that you want, it's reaffirming that, well, I just must not be chosen. And shifting from I'm not chosen into I am chosen when things don't look how you want them to look can be incredibly difficult, and it can be really disheartening, and it can make people think, well, there's something wrong with me. But actually, as Anya said, we've both been in this situation where, I can tell you that I've spent months staring at my phone, waiting, waiting for a text message, waiting for a phone call. And I felt exactly the same. Well, I just aren't chosen. He's not choosing me. He's not prioritizing me. What's wrong with me? When actually, the real reason that this was happening is because I was so hyper focused on communication, and I put so much pressure on communication that it had to happen that way. So the manifestation, so the end result of us living together, I was being pushed out of that state by waiting for a text message. So I wasn't in a state of I'm happily coupled and living together with my partner. I was in a state of I'm waiting for a goddamn text message. And that's what I went to all the time. And when I say I was hyper focused on it, I really was. Even when consciously I was trying to divert my attention away, subconsciously and energetically, I was still in waiting mode for this message. And when I was in waiting mode, I would tell myself all of these stories. And I see this a lot in clients where you automatically make it about you. You automatically make it that there's something wrong with you or that you're not chosen. When in actual fact, what's really happening is that you put so much pressure on this contact that it's not happening because you're hyper focused on it's not here, it's not here, it's not here. And the ball's not rolling. I'm doing something wrong because I haven't got a single text message off this person. And when you can understand and realize that you're doing this, you can then think, right, okay, when I am in this secure relationship and when I am confident that this relationship is already mine, actually communication is already contained in that. When you are in that secure, confident relationship energetically, communication is already there. You already have the communication. So, what I really had to do was take communication out of the equation completely. And what that meant was stopping checking my phone, which was difficult. I had to stop checking the phone, and I had to start telling myself that this isn't the way it has to happen.
Mm.
And I think in the manifestation community, there is a lot on how to manifest a text message or manifest a phone call. But
Yeah.
what this is actually doing is it's accidentally making you focus on the wrong thing. Because when I personally, now that I live with my partner, I personally don't wait for text messages. I
Mm.
personally don't care whether he's texted me or not because I know that I'll see him.
Mm.
So when you are sort of in the relationship energetically, but also waiting for a text message, those two things sort of butt up against each other. You're in two different states. So when you can take the communication out and focus only on the relationship, the end result, where you already do get the communication that you want, you will start to see how things change. You will automatically start to feel better because you're not forcing yourself to manifest something or want something that you don't really want, because you don't want a text message, you want a relationship. And when you're forcing yourself to try and manifest something that you don't really want, you are going to feel uncomfortable. You are going to feel anxious about it. You are going to feel annoyed that it hasn't come through. So just take it out completely. Take the idea of communication out completely and see how things change for you. Because when you can solely focus on your end, when you can solely focus on who you are being in the relationship, you will feel a lot better. And you will then start to understand that actually, yes, I am chosen.
Yeah.
And no, actually, there's nothing wrong with me.
Mm.
So it's about sort of reframing what the idea, what do you think the text message is going to give you? What need is the text message fulfilling, so that you can start letting it go? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that I think you described that so well. And I do think when you're focused on that text message, because that's, how we communicate a lot these days, the energy in you when you are focusing on that is, I'm not getting enough, I'm not getting enough, I want more, I'm dissatisfied. And that energy is not, like you say, if you knew you were in a relationship, if you knew you were going to be seeing that person that day, if you know that you're in a relationship with them and they're committed to you, you're committed to them, you don't have that dissatisfaction. You don't have, I'm not getting enough. You don't have, I want more, because you're satisfied. And it's like if a friend doesn't contact you for 24 hours after you message them, you don't get your knickers in a knot about it usually, because they're just getting on with their lives and you've got stuff to do. So when they communicate back and they contact you and text you back, you just go, oh, okay. But you haven't had that dissatisfaction. You haven't had that, I'm not getting enough, I want more. Usually, it does happen sometimes in friendships. It's not always the case, but a lot of the time with friends or family, you're not that bothered. So it is about looking at the underneath, what's underneath, what am I doing, what have I got going on? And it's letting go of that proof of love in that moment. I need proof of love, I need proof of importance, I need proof of I'm a priority or that I matter. And it's like that person didn't cause that in you and they can't cure it. That's yours. And that is the journey of healing that you are working on. Your I am important and I do matter. And it doesn't matter about people out there, especially SP. So I want to say this too about I'm chosen, Amy. It's like this comes up a lot in conversation, in emails and things. And I find it reminds me of childhood, when you'd be waiting, your teacher would say, okay, let's play a volleyball game, and then the teacher would pick two people and then they have to pick who they want on their team, and you're standing there going, oh my God, am I going to be last? Are they going to pick me? And I think that feeling of, you're standing there like this with your little eyes darting around waiting, and feeling inferior and inadequate because you're waiting to be chosen. And I think the same dynamic that happened in those instances at school, the same thing happens now around the text message, around someone wanting to be with you, around you waiting for someone, a specific person that you like, that you've got your eye on. So I've never been a fan. Well, not never. In the beginning, years ago, I would have done an affirmation like that too. I find I am chosen is a very weak, low grade affirmation for people that really want to work on relationships at a deep level. I would say it's a kindergarten level affirmation because it is reliant on someone else to make you feel loved. And that's what I would say about that. It's okay to use it as a starting point if you're beginning. Of course we do these affirmations. Amy most likely would have done it too. Would you, Amy? Something you would have done years ago?
Yeah.
And I would have done it, years ago too, because you're just learning and you're thinking, yeah, I do want to be chosen. But I think when you work on your self-love enough and you hold that presence of your own self-love, you start to see, I don't need to be chosen to feel loved. I don't need to be chosen to feel wanted. I don't need to be chosen. And when I let go of this notion of the mirage of this person choosing me then gives me my self-worth and makes me feel adequate, I think when you let go of those notions, and that takes a while, I'm not going to say you jump from doing I am chosen to that because it's not possible, but it's over the years working on your self-love and your self-worth, you start to really, in a way, choose yourself by saying, I am adequate, I am love, I am lovable, and you work on it from the inside rather than trying to grab something from the outside to make you feel loved, which I am chosen is one of those types of affirmations. So as people listen to this, it's just saying to yourself, okay, where am I at with that? And what is it that I really want? And I love how you explain that, Amy, about the progression, because it's about stopping your repetitive addictive habits. And checking a phone is an obsession and an addictive habit that is showing you that you are desperately relying on proof of love. And
absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right, because when you are working on your own self-love, working on healing, then you are choosing yourself. And my mom from a very early age always used to say, Amy, if you don't think you're amazing, nobody else will.
Did she?
So yeah, so
wow.
I didn't believe it at the time. I thought, oh yeah, right, okay.
Where's the guy? Where is he? Yeah.
So in fact, yes, you don't need to be chosen in order to feel chosen within. You don't need to be chosen by somebody else, but also paradoxically, no one's going to choose you unless you choose yourself.
That's right. It goes around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only way really of healing this, I'm not chosen, and it's a wound, it's a subconscious wound, like you said, a really good example at school. If you weren't chosen as a child, that would have had a profound effect on you. And it would have encouraged these stories that you probably tell yourself today, that I'm not good enough, that I'm inadequate, I'm not chosen, or I'm not worthy, I'm not, you'll probably tell yourself these stories subconsciously when that wound is triggered. So when you don't get the text message, the same stories of I'm inadequate, I'm not good enough, there's something wrong, so you notice the pattern from childhood. And that's where inner child healing is so important, so that you can start healing those wounds, so that when you're not getting contact or a text message, you're not telling yourself that same narrative again. You're not making it mean that you're inadequate, that there's something wrong with you. You're making it mean they just haven't texted me yet. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when people are coming to me and saying I'm not chosen, also, there's something like a 400 million chance of you being here today. So don't come to me and say that you're not chosen, because
did you look that up? Did you look up?
I think it's what really swung it for me. I was like, right, okay. There's a 1 in 400, I think 400,000 or 400 million. Either way, it's a big number of me being here today.
Yeah.
So, that's when you're looking at things from a higher level, from a spiritual level and a universal level, if you look at actually how you came to be here, it's not
Mhm.
possible that you're not chosen.
Yeah.
It's not a possibility anymore. But I suppose on the human level and the subconscious level, healing those wounds in childhood that you made mean you weren't chosen,
Mm.
really will help you on, particularly with your SP journey, because like you said, not chosen probably comes up for 99% of my clients.
Yeah.
So the not chosen wound, it's, once you can work on that, you are automatically going to feel your self-esteem go up,
Mm.
because you're choosing you, you're
Mm.
meeting that need, you're giving your inner child what it didn't have and what it needed at the time, and healing that within helps you be able to let go of the phone, helps you
Yeah.
be able to move into more of a stable place
Mm.
internally, so that you see that reflected on the outside. You will start to see stability reflected on the outside. You will see how you're chosen on the outside, because
Mm.
no one's not chosen 100% of the time, are they?
That's right. Mm.
It's not. It's just that you hyper focus on it because that one person looks like they're not
Yeah.
choosing you.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. I just remembered while you were saying that last bit, I remember probably with my first boyfriend, where I never told anyone this at the time because it was like not cool to be doing it. But if my boyfriend contacted me or the guy I like contacted me, I would make up some excuse to ditch my friends to go out with the guy, And energetically, when you look back at that, it's this desperation and this obsession with this one person because you think you get something from them that you don't get from your girlfriends. And this is not happening consciously. You're just doing this because I'd rather spend time with him because he wants to be with me. I can see my friends anytime. But when you look back, I look at that and think, wow, I really didn't respect myself. I didn't respect my friends. And I had this guy on a pedestal. And, looking back, you go, oh, that's not cool. But I mean, 17 at the time, 16, 17, 18 at the time. So you're doing whatever you do from automatic pilot and from a desire for affection, a desire to hold hands, a desire to be, cuddling up and all that stuff that you can't do with your friends.
Well,
So,
it is. It's the feeling of being picked. I've been picked.
yes. But I'm going to force you. I'm going to drop my friends to go and do it, to go and get it.
And every time I always say this to people, every time you pick up and check the phone, you are not choosing yourself. You're choosing
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
It's as subtle as that. And if you can
Yes.
just get out of the habit of checking the phone, get out of the habit of dropping your friends to go and hang out with this person, you can start to really see how much you don't choose yourself, which
Mm.
is usually a really good indicator of what you can start doing to actually show yourself that you are chosen
Mm.
and prioritized.
That's
Okay,
it.
I'm not going to check the phone for 2 hours. I'm going to put the
Yeah.
phone away, and I'm not going to check it.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose me. I'm going to, right, what's going to make me feel good in this moment? I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea, or I'm going to take a bath, or I'm going to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Anything to sort of start breaking those subconscious
Yeah.
patterns down.
Yeah.
And you'll find, because there's certainly no judgment here, because when you're in the thick of it and when you really really do believe that you will never be chosen unless this person picks you,
Mm.
as I say, no judgment at all, you are glued to the phone,
Yeah.
you are hyper focused on the phone, and it's such an uncomfortable place to be. But even if you can start just breaking it just a little bit day by day, and say, oh, I'm
Yeah.
not going to check my phone for an hour.
Mm.
Start there. Start with 5 minutes. If it's, if you want to start
Yeah.
with, okay, I'm going to not look at the phone for 5 minutes, and just build up from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think now it's easier than it's ever been to indulge your addiction.
Mm.
And, all of this stuff, I mean, we talk about it in different words today, but the term love addiction comes from 12 step, from Alcoholics Anonymous, Al-Anon. There's a fellowship called Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. And in those rooms, there is I would say 80% of most of those meetings are love addicts rather than sex addicts. So it's this behavior of constantly, like an addict, chasing the drug of that person, giving you the hit. It's that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So let's move on to
the second
SP
one.
doesn't do enough.
Yes.
And the reason why I'd sort of come up with this today is I've had quite a few clients that have got contact with their SP. So they've got the text message and it's almost like, okay, yeah, I've got this thing that I've waited for months up, but actually it's not making me feel any better. It's not making me happy, and making it mean that that person isn't doing enough. And this often comes down to over expectation and also projecting what you see as the future onto this person. And by doing that, you're adding pressure onto the manifestation because you are placing your own expectations on this person when really we want to let the person be how they are and, you know, start to let go of that control. And it is control, but it's coming from a place of fear. You want to see that the ball's rolling, you want it to happen really fast, but it's not. And that's okay. And you've got to make that okay. Because I can tell you throughout my journey, and I've manifested my person back numerous times. And I know that every time, aside from the last time, about more than 2 years ago now, every time he got in touch with me, I would feel happy for a day. And then I would fall back into, well, I need more than that. This isn't enough for me. And I would start that cycle of pressuring and pressuring and pressuring again and pushing him away. And I'd end up back in the same place again. Eventually the relationship would crumble. I would be spending weeks, months trying to manifest the text back again, only to fall into the same pattern. But the last time that this happened, I'd committed that I wasn't going to do that anymore and started to understand the reasons why I was doing it. And when I was thinking he's not doing enough or he's not enough, really it was because I didn't feel like I was enough. And I needed him to prove to me that I was enough. Almost similar to not being chosen. I needed him to do certain things that would show me that I was enough. And that meant, you know, texting me all the time. And if he wasn't texting me all the time, or if he didn't respond to me in a certain time frame, I would, well, he's not enough.
Yeah.
He's not enough. And I would project that onto him. And a really good way that I managed to solve for this was that I took should and shouldn't out of my vocabulary. Because those two words, should and shouldn't, cause so many issues. Like, he should be doing this, he should be showing up this way, he shouldn't do that, he, you know.
Yeah.
And when I took that out and I thought, right, okay, I'm just going to let him be how he is and let this unfold. Actually, it happened really fast because I wasn't trying to control it anymore. I wasn't in a place of being afraid that it wasn't going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
I'd sort of stopped saying he should be doing this. Because when you're saying that to yourself, it's winding you up. It's really putting you on edge. It's unsettling you when you believe someone should be doing something and they're not. But actually, they shouldn't be doing it because they're not. You know, if they should be doing it, they would be doing it.
Yeah. Yes.
If they were meant to be texting you all the time, they would be texting you all the time.
Yeah.
So if you can take the expectation, because when you were young and expectations were put onto you, it didn't feel great. It didn't feel like, oh, you know, I'm enough. It always felt like you weren't enough because you were never able to meet somebody's expectations. But we start doing that to SP, And if you imagine being in their position with these lofty expectations that you're putting on them, energetically or verbally, it doesn't really matter, that person is going to push away. That person is going to think, well, I'm never going to meet this person's expectations, so why try? I would.
Yeah. And you're constantly judging the other person. You're constantly criticizing them mentally in your head. And then sometimes it does overflow with some hands on hips comment about why didn't you, da, da, da,
Yeah.
So yeah, it is, it's actually very unloving. If you really love someone, it's an unloving act, an unloving thing that you do mentally when you think of them in those ways. So yeah, it's get your foot off the back of the person's neck
Yeah.
energetically.
And it breeds an awful lot of resentment, which is just going to be another hurdle that you're going to have to overcome.
Yeah.
Because when you are together, what we don't want is for all this resentment to come out, that you should have done this, you didn't say this, you said this to me. And it breeds so much resentment that, and I'm not saying, resentment in a relationship to a certain degree is normal, but when you can talk it out and release it in a secure way. But
Yeah.
when somebody is, putting these high expectations on someone that they're never going to meet, then you're never going to resolve that resentment. It's always
Yeah.
going to be there. It's always going to grow. And as you say, spills out onto the other person. And again,
Yeah.
energetically pushes them away.
Yeah. I think the more relaxed you are, the more easy you are, especially about, if you come from the, you know what, they'll text me when they're ready. And I know they always get back to me. If you come from that place, wow, you set yourself free. And then the secondary gain is you set them free. And then they feel because so many people do that projection of expectation, that projection of you should be, or it's like, oh, well, you used to text me good morning every morning and now you don't do it anymore. It's like, well, people can't keep up this pace that's in the honeymoon phase. You can't keep that up forever. Not saying that, people have to do X, Y, Z, but if someone was very giving in the beginning, you then get trained to expect them to keep doing it. And when people taper off, that's where the judgment and the criticism kick in. And it's like, well, if you look at it as, wow, I'm so grateful for what they gave in the beginning. Now we're going into another phase of our relationship, and I'm going to be grateful for whatever is given in this phase. And I'm going to give to them as well. And I'm going to give them especially the absence of judgment and criticism. That is something you can give someone. It doesn't look like you're giving anything, but you are giving a massive gift, especially after you've been with someone for more than 6 months or a year. So it's that, I think it's a maturity that happens over time on the topic of love, specific person, relationship, commitment, all these things. There is a wonderful maturing that happens when you can sit back and just let it breathe, the relationship, like you do with a bottle of wine when you pop the cork. You let it breathe, you allow it to be, and then you will see, when you're grateful for what's given, and when you say to yourself, what's given, what they give is enough, and you come from that place, the person wants to do things for you because there's no disdain from you to them that makes them go, so I gave all that and it's never enough for her. Honestly, that when people get to that point, that happens. It's like, well, screw you. I'm not giving you anything now. And that's what a lot of people are experiencing. And to not get that, be grateful with what is given, no matter how little, how much, even if it's nothing. Get into the gratitude of, I am freeing myself from needing this long list of things from you for me to be happy, because that's like a childish state. And
it is. And I
Mhm.
remember vividly taking on, a bit of advice that you gave on one of your interviews, actually, which was smothering with freedom. And that
Oh
is
yeah.
exactly what I did.
Yes. Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
first, there was resistance to it because I wouldn't have control then.
Yes.
But actually, that is exactly what I did. I smothered him with freedom. I
Nice
just
one.
let go completely of controlling the situation, let go of him, let go of trying to get from him,
Yeah.
and saw how things changed. Because when I smothered him with freedom and there wasn't any expectations of him anymore, he would, you know, willingly
Yeah.
come forward, willingly
Yes.
commit, willingly
Mm.
contribute to the
Mm.
relationship because the pressure wasn't there anymore and the
Yep.
expectation wasn't there anymore.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that the just, it's like this tipping point, that whole thing you just said now. It's like you get to the place where you're starting to practice something you've never done before. But then as you get better at it, you start to see the amazing change in them because of the change in you. And then it's like when two people can start to give to each other that breath of fresh air of not having this, you need to do this, you need to do that, hands on
Mm-hmm.
hips, you're not giving me this.
Yeah.
When you finally move through that whole process of letting go of that level of being and you make the effort, and it's hard at first, I'm not going to say
Mm-hmm.
it's not hard. It was hard for you, it was hard for me too. But the more you do it, the more love comes to you, the more love flows between you, the more understanding you have of each other. And it's like two people can then be givers to each other, even if it's the absence of criticism and judgment of what you haven't done for me. That's a giving in a relationship. It's giving them peace and quiet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, so those things are priceless. Some of those things you can't see, but I think it's a maturing over the years, of understanding what love is and understanding that I can have this beautiful love, but not from a place of you owe me, or not from a place of you didn't text me within 3 hours. And everybody's got different things. Like if someone doesn't reply within a week, someone doesn't reply within an hour, everybody's got different levels of when someone should reply. So if you are listening to this, ask yourself, what's the benchmark for me? And is it reasonable? And
Mm-hmm.
also, even if it's reasonable, you still have to let go of that because people have the right to text you when they want. So it's
Exactly.
giving them the freedom and the space.
Yes. And when you are in the space of thinking they need to text me back immediately, they need to do this, that's
Yes.
saying more about you than it is them.
Yes. Yeah.
It's if it is that you're needing that text message to feel happy or
Mm.
feeling unhappy because they haven't texted you, then you're giving your power away, because actually you are in complete control over how you feel about this. You can feel unhappy about it if you want to, and you can, moan
Mm.
about it and you can criticize them for it, or you can
Yeah.
decide to feel okay anyway.
Yeah.
Give them the benefit of the doubt, absolutely,
Yes.
and move on with your day. And,
Mm.
things will go so much smoother if you just let someone be how they are.
Yeah. I agree. And I'd be interested to see, with people listening to this and they've watched it to this point, what their thoughts are on I am chosen, because some people love that.
Mm-hmm.
And what are their thoughts about I'm not getting enough from the specific person? Like, where are the viewers that watch both our channels? Where are they at with this? What do they think about this? And also, where are they at in their own inner work to really start to transform this outside relationship that they've got? So, Amy, you've got some good resources for what we've discussed today. And I know you've done specific YouTubes on this. How about that you and I both put those resources down under the description of this video, And then people can do a little bit more exploration and thinking about this, because this is a really, really big one. I am chosen, and the SP doesn't give me enough. In the manifestation community, in the SP community, and also on YouTube in general. So let's see what people say about it, and then it might give us some ideas for future videos to help them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you want to say anything else, or do you think we've covered it?
I think we've covered it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And this is a really important topic for many people, especially those that have a specific person or an ex that they want back, or that they have a moment or a period of time where they're taking a break from relationships, but they'd like to get back into one, but they've got perhaps a bit of apprehension because of their reoccurring patterns they've had in the past. So yeah, let's put some more resources down below for them to give them a bit of relief.
Excellent.
Oh, very good. Well, Amy, you want to say bye to everyone, and then you and I can say bye in private.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for watching, everybody. And yeah, I hope to see you all very soon.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I will put Amy's YouTube channel and other links that she has got that you can go and find her. But if you do, bring her back to me, because she's mine. Bye, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Now, where do I stop this?